So now I'm starting with the next topic, which is phasors and phasor diagrams. है ना? So what is phasor? Phasor is basically a rotating vector that represents a sinusoidally varying quantity that is called phasor. What does it mean? That if let's suppose I'm taking that basically now this is an imagined vector. Okay. So if I am taking an example like that, है ना? Like this is my example. So this is called as a phasor. Okay. This is called as a phasor. Now it could be represented for the current thing or it could be represented for EMF thing, right? Okay. So we can say that the vector which is to be imagined, है ना? Like we are imagining this vector, it is not in actually represented somewhere, है ना? And then we will be rotating it like that. This, either clockwise or anti-clockwise, right? So that is called as a phasor. Okay. And make sure one thing that its length, this whole length, what does it represent? It represents the amplitude of the quantity and its projection upon a fixed axis. Okay. Yeah. Now let's go ahead with the second definition, that is phasor diagram. Phasor diagram. What is phasor diagram? A diagram, है ना, that we just now saw. So that diagram represents alternating current and voltage of the same frequency as of the rotating vectors. Like whatever rotating vectors we are having, so as soon as we will be rotating that with whatever length or the quantity we will be having that, है ना? So that will be represented in a same way in a diagram. Huh? So that diagram is particularly called as the phasor diagram or the Argand diagram. Okay. Now, let's start by taking the example of this diagram. है ना? So you can observe one thing, that if this is my omega t, because the vector which is at E naught will now be rotated by the angle omega to reach somewhere I naught. Okay. Now, this omega naught will be here. Let's suppose I'm adding a small angle phi here. Huh? So that will be reaching to somewhere I naught. And we know that when I will be taking the rectangular component form, like if this is my E naught thing, I have to take the component here also, or I can take here also. है ना? So that component which is in the vertical portion, I will be representing that with E, and this I naught I will be representing with I. Just give me 1 second. So I was taking this phasor diagram in which, let's suppose I'm considering that the alternating EMF and current in a particular circuit, let's suppose I'm giving it by EMF will be E naught sin omega t, I will be I naught sin omega t plus phi. Why? Because see, if this is my EMF, right? So I have to take the component of E naught in the direction of the vertical thing, right? So it will be E naught into sine omega t. We know this thing, na? If this is my particular arrow, let's suppose E naught, and this is my angle omega t. So here it will be E naught cos omega t, and in the vertical it will be E naught sine omega t, right? So we took that as sine omega t version. Now, clear? Now, if I have to take for I naught, this is I naught, and I have to take the vertical component again here. So it will be, see, if this is my I naught, this is my whole angle omega t plus phi, right? This was omega t, this is phi. So as a whole, it became omega t plus phi. Clear? So in the vertical direction, it will be I naught sine omega t plus phi. So this is the value of I, which is in the vertical direction. So I wrote it here. Now we will make sure one thing, that this phi is basically, write down, this is phase angle between EMF and the current value. है ना? Now we can see that this vector O to A is representing EMF as a function of naught, right? And this OB vector is representing I naught. Clear? So if I will be rotating both with the same angular velocity omega in the anti-clockwise direction, in the opposite direction, so the projection we just now calculated. Okay. Now we have a note written here that when we are talking about alternating current and alternating voltage, they are always called as rotating vectors in phasor diagrams, and these quantities are not really vectors themselves. So that's why they are called as scalar quantities. Very, very, very important point. Now we will be going ahead with the derivation portion, in which subsequently we will be including first of all an AC circuit in which we have a resistor only. Next we will be going ahead in which we will be including only inductor, then only capacitor, right? In this manner, going ahead, then we will take the combos of 2, 2, 2. Like first resistor inductor, है ना? Like that's why we will be calling it as RLC circuit. Either of resistor, either of inductor, either of capacitor. Then second combos will be twice. Like RL circuit, LC circuit, RC circuit, right? And the third one will be taking three all at a time, that is RLC circuit. First thing we are starting with AC circuit containing only and only a resistor. So the question how used to come, like, or the heading that you have to put on, that is, you have to show that the voltage and the current always vary in the same phase in the alternating circuit, which is containing resistance only, right? So let's start with the circuit diagram. See, we can suppose a resistor which is of resistance R, and then it is connected to the source of the EMF, which is providing the current, है ना, to the circuit. Okay. So now we can see, because this is a sinusoidal waveform which will be provided by here, so we can write the very first thing, that is E is equal to E naught sin omega t. I hope it is clear. Now, this circuit will be called as purely resistive circuit. Why? Because only resistor is present there, right? Next we have instantaneous EMF of the source, we can see, is equal to the, at a particular instance, whatever potential difference will be applied across that resistor. So we can say, we know that the voltages will remain same when a circuit is in a parallel combo, right? So whatever EMF will be across this, or EMF we can suppose at as V only, potential only, huh? So whatever potential is across this thing, the same potential will be across this thing, है ना? So we are naming the potential across this thing as EMF word, and the potential across this resistor thing as only R, potential difference word only, huh? Sorry, potential difference word only, huh? So we can see instantaneous EMF of any source which is providing the current or the voltage providation to the resistor will be equal to instantaneous potential difference across the resistor. Keep writing these points, huh? So we have the value E is equal to E naught sin omega t, which is equal to IR, right? Now we can let this I at a particular place and bring this R in the denominator, right? So it will be E naught by R sin omega t is equal to I. So we let it here, huh? Now we know by Ohm's law that V is equal to IR. So V upon I, or V upon R, is equal to I. And this E naught is also a kind of V only, na? So we are writing E naught by R as a whole as I naught. And in the previous lecture, we already understood that this I naught value is basically a peak value, huh? So we got the relation of current now in a purely resistive circuit. Mark my words, write the heading. Purely resistive circuit is saying that if E is equal to E naught sin omega t, then I will be I naught sin omega t in the same phase, huh? So what is the meaning of same phase now? If this is as a function of sine is written here without any change in the omega t, same way current we are getting as a sine function with omega t. And this I naught, wherever naught word is written, that is called as the peak value. What? Peak value. Okay. So from these two equations, from first and the second one, we can conclude the same thing, that both E and I are the functions of sine omega t, and therefore they are in same phase. Clear? Okay. This is of the case of purely resistive circuit. Now let's go ahead to the phasor diagrams and the graph. Okay, let's talk about the phasor diagram. So if I'm taking this angle as omega t, huh, and I'm taking the E naught value as this only, then the I naught will also be at the same phase. Phase is basically an angle to which this vector will be aligned. Okay. So we made the phasor diagram. Now you might be having a question in your mind that why E naught is bigger and why I naught is smaller. That is completely dependent upon us. Just to differentiate their magnitudes, we are taking the one as a larger one and the other one as smaller one. Huh? Okay. Next we have the graph. Again, if I took the amplitude of E as a greater one, the length is greater one. So that's why I made the graph a little higher one and I value graph a little smaller one. Next we have E value will be like this. Hana? So I value will be again in the same phase. That will be with omega t inclination only. Hana? So that's why we are not proceeding the graph further or we are not preceding the graph further. Hana? It's like that. Next derivation we have if an AC circuit will be containing only and only inductor. Now we have the sinusoidal EMF here which is applied to the circuit. So this is my sinusoidal EMF which is applied to the circuit which is containing only and only inductor. Okay, now we have to show that the current lags behind the voltage by 90 degrees or pi by 2 radian. When we are talking about in an inductive circuit which is containing only and only inductor, inductor representation is by the spiral type of thing. Okay, so now see, if let's suppose I'm showing that this is an inductor which is being connected in a circuit, right, and having the alternating EMF E which is being supplied from here. So we can write that E value here will be E naught sine omega t again, just like the previous one. Now we can assume, write down this thing. We assume that the inductor has negligible resistance. So that's why I'm assuming that this is a purely inductive circuit. Okay. Yeah. So this is a purely inductive circuit. Why it will be called purely inductive circuit? Because there will be no resistance. That's why. So you should know this thing. Now we can see that the alternating current will be flowing through the inductor and producing a back EMF. That will be the original E which is being passed from here and minus times of LdI by dt. LdI by dt thing we already understood in the electromagnetic induction chapter lecture number 4. Okay. So, but we know that this EMF which is produced in the inductor portion now, that will be like you can assume it like that. If alternating current will be flowing through the inductor, back EMF which is produced now, it will be opposing the applied EMF. Okay. Whatever EMF will be given from here, that will be packed by the inductor. Okay. So we wrote the net instantaneous EMF. But this EMF will be zero because there is no resistance in the circuit. I'm again saying there is no resistance. I just now mentioned this thing. That's why it is zero. Okay. So we will be equating this expression of net instantaneous EMF to zero. Clear? Now we can bring this term on the right hand side. Just don't worry about the mathematical part. It's easy. So E value from the first equation we can write as E naught sine omega t. LdI by dt will remain same. Keep writing. Now E naught L we will take in the denominator and sine omega t will be here only and dt I multiplied above. Okay. So what will be left? Only di will be left. Write down. Now we have to integrate both the sides to calculate the complete current. Now I told you earlier also that we will be deducting this integration sign with the derivative sign, but we will not be showing this as a mathematical part. This you have to do in your mind just to understand. Okay. So we will be left with only the value of current and E naught by L is a constant value. We will take it outside. Okay. So we are only left with E sine omega t dt integration. Now we have the current value which is E naught by L sine omega t integration we know. Just write the formulas of integration here. Integration of sine theta is equal to minus cos theta. Okay. So sine omega t integration I wrote minus omega t. Okay. Because angle is omega t now. Now we have a rule that whenever anything will be coming inside the theta, then that I have to put in the denominator. Okay. If let's suppose it's 2 theta, then I will be putting 2 in the denominator. This is the rule. So that's why I substituted this omega, an extra thing in the denominator. Okay. Now minus I took outside. So it will be minus E naught by omega I took outside. So L omega cos omega t plus C. And this constant value, I will be putting it to 0. Okay. Now, so we know that because the applied EMF is sinusoidal, so we can expect the current also to be sinusoidal, right? So therefore, when we have to calculate or go ahead with the average value of the current, that should be zero in a complete time period. Okay. Therefore, the average of cos omega t will also be zero for a given time period. Now, we are equating and we are writing this E naught by L omega as I naught. Okay. Now cos omega t. And then we have a mathematical trigonometric rule again for NEET. It may be a little difficult because in class 11 we never did integral, trigonometry, है ना, in maths. So we have a formula that is sine 90 minus theta is cos theta, and similarly cos 90 minus theta is sine theta. Okay. So we are putting cos omega t, this cos t as sine 90 minus theta, means sine 90 minus omega t, because angle is omega t here instead of theta. So we are putting this, now we are taking this minus sign inside, so it will be minus here and plus here. So I just reversed the places, okay. Now we got the value that I is equal to I naught sine omega t minus 90 degrees. So we are getting again I naught is the peak value, where I naught will be depicting the expression that is E naught by omega L. Okay. Now we can see that the current is getting back by 90 degrees of the original omega t. है ना? So now we concluded that the current is lagging behind the voltage by 90 degrees or pi by 2 radians. So we have a note here because we got E is equal to E naught sine omega t. We got I is equal to I naught sine omega t minus 90. So we can say that either voltage is 90 degree ahead or current is 90 degree lagging. Now we can make phasor. First of all, we will be putting just E only, है at an angle omega t. Done. Now we have to lag the current by 90 degree. So if my EMF is here, I have to back that thing by 90 degree, right? And wherever I will be landing after backing up by 90 degree, that will be my value of current. So this is my I naught. Clear? Again, graph we have. If my EMF is a normal graph, always make EMF thing as a normal thing and then compete over the value of current. Okay, either in graph or in the phasor. Now I value will be backing up by 90 degrees. So wherever this was coming, now current will be coming just 90 degrees back of that. Okay, and a little smaller value we are making. This is not a universal thing that I value you have to always make smaller. It's just our assumption that we are using in all the experiments. Okay. Now we have an important thing that is inductive reactance. Okay. So I naught is basically E naught by omega L. Clear? And we know it could be written as E naught by R also. Now if I compare both of the things, so I'm getting that E naught by omega L is equal to E naught by R. Will be getting cancelled. And now I will be cross multiplying. So R is equal to omega L. Now got it? It is now how it is defined, है ना? It is a measure of the effective resistance, or resistance is also called as the opposition, right? Which is offered by the inductor, that back EMF word that I was talking about, to the flow of the alternating current, which is provided by the sinusoidal waveform, right? So that thing is called as reactance. And in this case, for the inductor thing only, it is named as inductive reactance. So we are getting the formula, which is notated by a letter XL. Okay. X means reactance, write down, and L means inductive. So as a whole, it is called as inductive reactance, which is equal to omega L, and omega can also be written as 2 pi F into L. If I'm talking about the IRMS value, we know the relation between the IRMS and the peak value. So it is I naught by root 2, right? I naught value we can write E naught by omega L, and root 2 will be as it is in the denominator. So we can also say that it could be written as ERMS, because E naught by root 2 is depicted as ERMS by omega L. So we are getting a relation which is somewhat similar to the Ohm's law, which used to say I is equal to V by R, right? In a similar way, IRMS is equal to ERMS by, instead of the place of the value of the R, I'm putting inductive resistance, inductive reactance here. Clear? Now, we have the variation curve of this inductive reactance. See, I'm depicting again and again. L means inductive, X means reactance with the frequency. Okay. So on the y-axis, I took XL, On the x-axis, I took frequency. So it will be a linear graph. Why? Because it is of the pattern if XL is on the y-axis is equal to and frequency is on the x-axis. So 2 pi L thing is a kind of a slope. Okay. So we are taking a graph of the straight line which is passing from origin. Okay. So I made it passing from origin. The last thing that we are covering in this chapter is if I am connecting the AC circuit only and only to a capacitor. Okay. Again, I put the capacitor here, parallel plate capacitor, which is consisting of the parallel plus or the positive sign on one of the plate and the negative sign on the other plate. So, see, we can show a capacitor which is of the capacitance I'm taking C, which is connected to the battery here and a plus minus and a tapping key. Okay. Now, as soon as the circuit will be closed, then electrons will start flowing like that to first of the plate. Let's suppose I'm naming this as A and I'm naming this as B. Okay. So it will start flowing from A to B. Clear? Now, the plates A and B will be starting to acquire the positive and the negative charges respectively. Right? So the capacitor will progressively be getting charged by some value. Okay. Now we can say that the potential difference across the plates A and B should become equal to the potential difference across the terminals of the battery, right? So as soon as this will be happening, the charging of the capacitor will become stopped because the equilibrium is now reached. Okay. So during the capacitor is being charged, the electric current which is flowing from here, it does not flow through the rest of the circuit because there is a momentary deflection in the ammeter. Okay, here. So the maximum charge that a capacitor plates will be having is Q naught is equal to C into V naught. And as soon as it will be reached, the capacitor stops the flow of DC current. Okay. Now, let's start with the derivation part that we know the maximum charge on the capacitor plate could be acquired as C into V naught. Therefore, the capacitor will stop the value of the DC, right? Now, if R would have been included in that particular circuit, that will be named as RC circuit, right? And in that case, how the process will be going on? See, if R is included in the series circuit with the capacitor, then the process of the charging will get a little slow down and the capacitor will be taking a longer time to get charged because resistance will be providing the offering, like you have to oppose the flow of current, right? So the capacitor will take a longer time to cover that up to get charged fully. Now clearly we can see that the charge will be growing exponentially, right? This is the value of the charge on the y-axis and this is my time. Okay. So the charge will be varying exponentially with zero value to a maximum value somewhere, right? So we can define the value of the time constant, which is the time in which the capacitor is getting charged to 0.632 times the maximum value of the charge Q naught. Now, what is the effect of the capacitor in the AC circuit? See, when a capacitor of the capacitance C will be connected to the source of alternating EMF, so due to the alternating voltage of the source, what will be happening? The capacitor will be getting charged in one direction, right? In its first half cycle. And again, it will be getting discharged in the opposite direction in the another half cycle. So there is a continuous AC in the circuit and the capacitor provides an easy path for the alternating current. The last thing is the derivation, then we'll end this lecture, which is again we can say that the potential difference across the capacitor will be equal to the potential difference across this thing, which will be named as applied EMF. So potential difference across the capacitor I named as, let's suppose, V, and applied EMF is of the form E naught sine omega t. A sinusoidal form will be given to that. Now V I can write in terms of charge and capacitance as Q by C because we have the formula Q is equal to CV. So from there we are writing V is equal to Q by C. Okay. I can put it here. Q by C equal to E naught sine omega t. And I can make Q alone by multiplying the C with the right hand side. Okay. And the current at any instant could be written with the form dq by dt. And we will be putting the value of the charge from this equation into this one. Now we know C and epsilon naught are the constant values. We will take it outside. So we are left with C epsilon naught and the derivative of sine omega t with dt. So that will be cos omega t And by the chain rule of derivative, this variable will be multiplied ahead. In derivative, the variable will be multiplied ahead. In integration, it will be divided. Okay. So this whole thing I can write I naught, and we are getting the value of current for the capacitive circuit, only purely capacitive circuit, that is I naught sine omega t plus 90. Now we can see, just like we did in the earlier case, in that case, when there is only purely inductive circuit, the current will be lagging by 90 degree. In this case, the current will be going ahead by 90 degree. Okay. In this manner, we can just depict this E naught at its same position at an angle omega t, and we are proceeding 90 degree ahead and making I naught. In the same way, we are making it in a graph. Okay. Now, capacitive reactance value, that will be capacitive reactance. Okay. So that will be I naught is equal to E naught by R. And this R thing, I'm writing that as 1 by omega C. Okay. Now I can equate this 1 by omega C with R, and getting the value of Xc. So we can define that it is the opposition offered by the capacitor to the flow of the alternating current. And we have the exponential variation of Xc with frequency. That's all. Okay.